First and foremost, all praises are due to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakak Radash. Double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of Great Millstone for teaching us his truth, and salutations to the brothers around the four corners of the earth for teaching his word and truth and sincerity, and shalom to the hopeful elect, the few men, women, and children that believe in this word. This is your brother Kawat Sabah coming at you again with another lesson. This one is entitled, Let the Weak Say, I Am Strong. And here we have an article from Reuters, in which we know the other day China raised their duties on U.S. goods to 125% in response to Trump raising tariffs on them to 145%. So this is a trade war that's going on. And this is all being conspired and being manipulated by the elites of the Edomites, the international bankers, to bring chaos with the world economies, and in particular with the economy of the United States, because they have to cause chaos. So people's 401ks are devaluing. People's pensions are at risk of what? Being wiped out. So this is all to what? To bring about chaos, mainly here in Babylon, America, because they want to bring in what? Jacob's trouble. So you want to bring the economy down, blackouts, cyber wars, civil war, race riots, people starting to become upset and fearful. And when people are in fear of losing what? Their livelihood or money, okay, they have nothing left to lose. So that will bring about what? Protest, rioting, and then they can what? Issue what? Martial law. So when all this stuff happens, then they can bring about what? The solution, which they already have in the background, the RFID chip, the radio frequency identification device, which is already pretty much, the AI system is already set up in China. They already have the credit system. China has the concentration camps already going. So they have everything really set up in China. And China is the role model for everybody else as far as getting this AI MOTB system in line, okay? Getting everything on board, okay? But what has to happen is the last domino to fall is, of course, Babylon, America. But China is no longer fearful of the United States. Also, you have the Southeast Asian bloc of the world beginning to come together. China and Japan are talking again. South Korea and North Korea are talking again. Taiwan will eventually what? Be taken over by China. They really have no chance. And some of these countries are beginning to say what? We don't want your U.S. military bases on our land. So everything is being set up to bring about what? World War III. These countries, many of them, and in particular China, are no longer afraid of the big bad wolf, the United States. So let's read this heading of this article and read a little bit of the article and go into a couple of scriptures. So it says here, China raises duties, which are tariffs on U.S. goods, to 125%, calls Trump tariff hikes a joke. So you see how they are no longer scared of the big bad wolf. Let's read a little bit of this article. It says here, China hiked its levies on imports of U.S. goods to 125% on Friday, hitting back at Donald Trump's decision to single out the world's #2 economy for higher duties, while dismissing the U.S. president's tariff strategy as a joke. So China is laughing at the U.S. because they are the world's #2 economy, as well as they produce most of our goods. So it makes no sense what Donald Trump is doing, but he's only doing it because he's being instructed, by the elites of the Edomites in order to bring chaos here in Babylon, America, so they can bring about their what? Their MOTB system, okay? The CHIP. Everything is set up. The AI system is set up. The infrastructure is set up. But they have to bring about the chaos, create the problem. You have a reaction, and then the solution will be what? The MOTB. And people will be willing to get that CHIP in their forehead or in their hand if enough chaos erupts, if they can't get food, all right, if they can't get water, you see, if the grid system goes down, they'll be willing to get that sea hip to quell the chaos. But those of us who are part of the hope for elect, who are Hebrew Israelites, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans here in Babylon, America, and scattered throughout the world like the sand of the seashore, are not going to be fooled by what's going on. We know what's going on. We know why all this chaos is being created. We know why Donald J. Trump is doing all this, you see, because he's being instructed. And the main director, the ultimate director, is Yahweh. He's directing the whole show, all right? But the devil knoweth, our adversary the devil, and in particular the elites of the Edomites knoweth that they have but a short time before Yahushua comes back down with the kingdom of heaven upon the planet Earth. So they know what's going on. So let's go into some scriptures real quick. Nothing major. Joel chapter 3, let's read verse 10. Excuse me, let's read verse 9. Joel 3 and verse 9. It says here, proclaim ye among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Because eventually, all this trade war, okay, is going to lead to World War III. You're going to have Russia and their allies, China, Iran, Turkey, various African countries, all right, that are going to be that are going to line up, and they're already doing it. You know, forming the BRIC nations, Brazil, Russia. You have India, China, and South Africa, but over 30 other countries have joined, maybe more, have joined the BRICS. Okay, which is going to what? They're going to set up their own currency. And the main thing they're going to set up is the digital currency, which they already have in place. The central bank digital currency, which is going to lead to what? The MOTB. So the United States is really behind all these other countries to get on board with the central bank digital currency. But they will be brought up to speed because Donald J. Trump is going to make sure of that. Okay, let's read Joel 3 and verse 10. It says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. So China has the weaponry. They have nuclear missiles. So they are no longer afraid of the big bad wolf, the United States, as well as other countries. North Korea, okay, Iran, India, and of course Russia are no longer scared of the big bad wolf, because they have weapons and soldiers to match, which will lead to World War III. Of course, you have to have Jacob's trouble begin. Within that, the MOTB, World War III, and then the destruction of Babylon, America via nuclear missiles from Russia and the other nations, as well as Yahushua coming back down with a myriad of angels, okay, to aid in the destruction of Babylon, America, in the deliverance of what? The elect. So we know this year, Elder Apostle Tahar has labeled this year what? The hopeful year of Babylon, America's destruction and the deliverance of the hopeful elect, the elect of the Lord, the remnant of the Hebrew Israelites who have come back to this truth, okay, with sincerity. Let's read this again. Joel chapter 3 and verse 10. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. So the Lord's going to bring everybody into what? Into one area, that Middle Eastern area, you see, which is really Asia. And we know Elder Malcolm from GMS Chicago always says that the Middle East is really Asia. Western Asia, but you know, this devil has he causes nothing but confusion. These Edomites, you see, so he's going to gather everybody into one place. Excuse me. He's going to gather everybody into one place, known as what? The War of Armageddon or World War III. So he can what? Punish them for what they've done to us, the Hebrew Israelites. Let's continue. Let the heathen then be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, which means the valley of decision, which will be in that Middle Eastern area. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about, because we know that the United States is a guard to Israel, you see, and we know Israel will eventually do what? They're going to probably go after Iran, and when they do that, you're going to bring Russia, who is an ally to Iran, into the foray. You're going to bring them into the game. So that will be what? Russia with their allies, Iran, China, you see, North Korea, various African countries going against the United States and the European Union and their allies to defend Israel. So everything is setting up for World War III. So this trade war is just the beginning stages of getting that lined up. So those of us who are part of the hopeful elect, we are loving that this is all happening. We are measuring the times diligently, watching, praying, being circumspect, seeing what's going on. So let's continue. Joel 3 and verse 13, put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. So all these heathen nations are going to be brought into one place, all right? They're going to be brought into one place, the valley of Jehoshaphat, for the judgment of the Lord Yahweh. Let's continue. It says here, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. So we're looking forward to this happening. So along with the war of Armageddon, you're going to have what? Those missiles being launched towards Babylon, America, via Russia and other nations. And at the same time that the missiles are being launched, you're going to have Yahushua cracking those clouds with the myriad of angels, okay? Also aiding in the destruction with laser fire upon Babylon, America, as well as you're going to have Israel being attacked. But Israel, will be replenished because Yahushua has to come back down and bring the kingdom of heaven upon the earth. But Babylon, America is going to be desolate forever. All you're going to have there is what? Land creatures, snakes, reptiles, and those type of things, okay? Scavengers. So, like I said, note that China, as well as various other nations, are no longer afraid of the big bad wolf America, which is going to lead to what? Eventually World War III. So on that note, I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. I hope this lesson was edifying to you. Shalom.